Oh my gosh. Well, welcome everyone. This is the second, we'll call it the RHL Podcast for now. I'd like to welcome anyone who's listening and just to introduce everyone. Brian, I'll go ahead with you, Brian. And then we've got Landon of we should use the RHL team. So we got Brian of the Macon Whoopies. We got Landon of the Sin City Snipers and my brother Dave of the Medicine Hat Roadrunners. And myself, Mike, from the Fort McLeod Cherry Pickers. And we're here today just to talk about hockey or different topics that move us. So I guess the first thing is the last podcast, we did touch on what would Darnell Nurse get, because there was a rumor that he was going to get signed or that a contract was imminent or was about to be signed. And Brian, I'm going to start off with you because I think you nailed it. I can't remember. Did you say it was going to be a long-term? One of us said it was going to be a long-term 8-year deal. But do you remember what you said, Brian?
No, I don't. No, I think that...
Or better yet, what do you think of the deal?
All I can say is what I've read about it, and that's that they couldn't afford to sign him long-term. But it sounds like he wants to stay long-term. And unless things change in the next 2 years, when they get to this point again in 2 years, then they'll sign him to a 5 or 6 or 7 year deal. I think that's what they've talked about and they've agreed upon verbally. So just a matter to see whether that'll actually happen or not.
Do you like the signing?
Absolutely. I think, he's mobile. He can get some points. He's tough as nails. He can play the game the right way. So I love the signing.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of their core guys.
And I don't even think he's reached his peak yet. I think there's another level to Darnell Nurse. I really do, especially on the offensive side. Landon, what do you think?
I think a bridge deal is the only thing that makes sense in this current time because the cap space flexibility was necessary, and Darnell Nurse ended up signing a more team-friendly deal than a player. He didn't get greedy like most players nowadays and ask for the 8-year deal because he obviously, if we can see that the cap is strained, he knows that that's the only way he could stay under the current team, you know what I mean?
So do you like the signing?
Yes, I do, because it allows us cap flexibility going forwards.
Yeah. Well, Dave, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to toot my own horn because I remember what I said last week. But that's only because I've been listening to Oilers Now, and Bob Stauffer was talking about how it was going to be a 2-year deal. And I can't remember what they said. I said $6 million. So they ended up at 5.6.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good deal for them. I'm hoping that he lives up to the contract because I do see... to me, he's not the complete defenseman that I was hoping he'd be. He struggles a little bit in his zone on the odd occasion, but at his offense, last year he was a little more active in the play. This year he's not, to me, he doesn't seem to be as active in the play, but his plus minus is -2 right now, if that means anything.
Now, is Darnell Nurse, who's his line mate right now? Is it Ethan Bear?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think maybe that's the reason why he's not?
No. The reason
No,
that
that
the reason he's not getting the points offensively is that Clefbaum broke his hand blocking his shot last year and was out for an extended period, and Nurse took his place on the power play. This year, Clefbaum's been healthy. Nurse is
and
back.
playing well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, right now, last year he had 9 power play points. And he scored 41 points. This year he's got 3 power play points. He's got 24 points overall, which is just under half a game. He should be at 28 points if he was on the same pace as last year. So he's not that far off.
So he'll come in at 36, 37, something like that,
Yeah.
which makes sense because he's a year older. You know, he's still getting better. I agree with Dave. I think we haven't seen the best of Darnell Nurse yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I really believe that too. I think that I think he's gonna be. I do believe there is another level to him, in all aspects of his game. Like I think he can be a better offensive. I can think he can be more physical, and he definitely could clean up. I haven't really paid that much attention to him, but I know I've heard discussions where he fumbles a bit. He makes silly decisions sometimes. He's not consistent
agreed.
with the decision making. So, but overall, good contract. And again, Ken Holland is proving to make solid decisions, and it's really helped out the club. And just as a side note, was it today or yesterday that they signed Nygaard? Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know how much they signed him for. What does anybody know what that was?
50,000 less. 50,000 less than what he was making this year.
Okay, well then there you go.
Yeah.
So again, is it a 2-year deal or a 1 year?
1 year.
See, another
basically,
solid.
He was hurt a lot of this year, so it's more like we want to take a look at you again next year.
Okay.
So let's
Yeah,
see. And can I tell you one interesting story on Darnell Nurse?
absolutely.
At the Oilers skills competition 3 years ago, I believe it was, he did the speed contest skating backwards, and he finished 1 second behind McDavid.
Wow.
Yeah.
The physical skills are there. There's no doubt about the raw materials right there. It's just be nice to get that final polished. But I mean, he's still a young man, is he not? He's only 25, right?
25, yeah.
So. Okay, well, I think the
going back
next
to his line mate for a second though, Ethan Bear, in my opinion, has been the most improved Oiler this season.
Yeah, boy, I don't know, Landon. I mean, I know what you're saying. Ethan Bear has been a pleasant surprise, that's for sure. But that call up of Yamamoto for the Oilers has been a significant. Has had a lot of, like last night. Did he get a goal and assist last night, or 2 goals or something?
Yeah, 2 goals.
Yep, 2 goals.
I mean, I agree with you, Landon. It's been nice to see. It does seem that we're finally getting what it was always the problem the last 20 years, is that we never developed anybody.
Yeah, development is key.
Yeah,
Keeping them in the minors for a little bit longer has been the key to success so far.
Yeah, because now Ethan Bear has been drafted by us and developed by us, and now you're seeing Caleb Jones on the back end. Though I think probably still needs a little bit more work, but Kyle, the Yamamoto, God, he came up mid-season. I don't know what their record is since Yamamoto's been up, but and they didn't miss a beat last night. Nice solid win, 5-3 against the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But we got to be worried about teams that can actually play defense. The Blackhawks don't play defense properly, so. We'll see what happens against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is a way better team than Chicago, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, it's be exciting, that's for sure. And that's a good segue, Landon, because you're talking about Edmonton playing Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay got basically bad news. Was it yesterday or two games ago, right? That we wanted to touch about. Geez, there just seems to be a lot of major injuries. And we can go to Tampa first, and we can say what is the situation? Does anybody know what the situation with Kucherov is? On my website, it's just saying day to day.
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing here too on TSN, and saying day to day with a lower body injury.
Yeah, quite a significant loss, though, right?
Well, Stamkos is out as well.
Oh, right. No, that's a good point. I just saw that too.
And they said that he was going to miss the next 2 games, and then they'd reevaluate him.
So Edmonton will play them, and they will not have Kucherov or Stamkos.
Yeah, or Ryan McDonough is hurt as well.
Yeah. Is that so? The Oilers are going to play Tampa tomorrow, and they won't have to worry about Kucherov or Stamkos.
That's right.
Yeah,
Good luck for the Oilers.
They don't have Connor McDavid, so you got to wonder if the fans are going to bother showing up.
Yeah, good point. So I guess we could go to the top. We kind of touched on Tampa Bay, but it doesn't, like, they're out for a while, but it doesn't appear they'll be out for long. I'm looking at Anaheim. There's nothing really there.
Well,
Arizona.
Montreal just lost Shea Weber.
Columbus just lost Seth Jones.
Oh,
Calgary
yes.
Calgary lost Giordano. Vancouver, Goodbranson. Calgary lost Hamonic. So those are just the defensive guys.
Did Calgary lose Harmonic?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if he's on injury.
Yeah.
Look at Calgary's defense.
Yeah, that really
And
puts them in the 8 ball.
Dougie Hamilton's out as well.
Yeah. I don't know if Dougie Hamilton's coming back for the rest of the year. Does anybody know?
No, it's pretty serious. Whatever got him, it was pretty serious.
I'm just looking that up right now. Dougie Hamilton.
Fractured fibula.
Is fibula or something? Yeah, fibula, fractured fibula. Yowza. That's because he was coming up he's having a great season. The only thing that benefits me about Dougie Hamilton is that Shawnee has Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah, Shawnee's got a lot of injuries he's dealing with actually on his lineup.
Yeah, quite a bit actually. Yeah. Any other significant injuries we've touched on?
I don't know. Just Macon Whoopi's got 7 guys out right now.
You do?
I do.
And you're still whomping your competition.
I don't know if I am or not. But
Well, you're going to take a hit because Boston played tonight at least. But yeah.
Jay Bowmeister.
And then the Connor McDavid injury. Yeah, that's scary, that Jay Bowmeister thing. Because it's similar or eerily similar to Johan Franssen's injury, right?
No.
Rich Pepper.
Yuri Fisher and Nick Beverly.
Oh, Gary Fisher, I'm sorry.
And Nick Beverly also collapsed.
Rich.
Plus that Russian kid that died.
Yeah, the over in Russia.
AHL.
Terrapana.
Yeah.
He's the Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ranger pick.
Alexei Terrapana.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it happens.
Yeah, and Toronto, I saw that Frederick Anderson was coming back, but it's still got him listed as day to day.
Yeah, I think they're still going with Jim Campbell
Or Jack Campbell?
Jack Campbell, sorry.
Yeah, I hope they ride him for the next month.
I didn't know Kuznetsov left the game with an upper body injury. I noticed he only played like 8 minutes or 9 minutes the other night.
Yeah, my understanding is that Shawnee made me well aware that he was out. He's pretty happy Shawnee was.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't participate in practice today. And he didn't participate in today's practice or yesterday's practice. But he said the team is saying he responded well to the treatment and could return at some point during Washington's road trip. And he's going to travel with the team. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. Because I need him to make up some goals here in the next couple games. So our good old friend Leo Komarov, I guess, tagged him pretty good.
Yeah. Komarov's built.
The Shea Weber ones.
For Cannon.
Yeah. Shea Weber was just happened yesterday, did it?
Yeah.
No.
Or was it a couple days?
It was a few days ago, yeah.
Okay.
It was, eh?
Him and Giordano, I think, on the same day. So maybe 4 days ago, maybe 5 days ago.
Yeah. He's got a sprained ankle, I guess. And could return before the end of the year. Well, he's not getting traded. Any other injuries of note?
Darcy Kemper out of Arizona.
Casey Sazakis.
Yeah.
Brock Bozer.
That's a big one. And he's on your team too.
Yeah. Seth Jones, I think, is a huge one.
Yeah, that's big. And and it's off topic or not, but you gotta say they lost all that talent in the off season, and they're still in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, one of the pundits was laughing about Artemi Panarin bolting for the Rangers and missing the playoffs, and they're 9 or 10 points behind Columbus's pace, and
yeah, what a good job by because I'm looking at their list of injuries. They've got Brandon Dubinsky's out, Josh Anderson's out, Ryan Murray, Alexander Weinberg. Like, they're missing half their team here, guys.
yeah, the first two have hardly played at all this year.
And Jones went under the knife. Yikes.
The goaltending tandem has been quite the story, considering they got rid of Bobrovsky, a Vezina trophy winner, and he's been replaced by Merskilins and Corpusalo, and they went on the same type of runs at times. Those two guys don't even belong in the same category as a Bobrovsky, but they're keeping Columbus still in the race.
Well,
very good point, Landon.
I just heard a quote from Jarmo Kekalainen, who said they knew they had a couple of star goalies. In their opinion,
Yeah.
the guys they were keeping or getting, Merzlikins, were going to be stars. So they didn't feel that was too bad a loss.
Well, they're getting better goaltending than Florida is. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, and a lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper. Yeah, it's kind of surprising how Bobrovsky's kind of fallen off a bit this year. But also, too, is that you thought a Joe Quenneville team would be better. You would have thought they would have been better under Joe Quenneville, right?
Yes, good point.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I second that opinion.
The talent's there. I feel so. I do have a soft spot for those non-traditional hockey markets. You want to see one of them get, like if Columbus won the Stanley Cup, as long as they weren't playing against the Oilers, I'd be okay with it. I like Columbus's logo enough to, but yeah, good job by. I think he should be coach of the year. Actually, is what's his name now?
Tortorella.
Yeah. Like, considering all the talent he lost there and they're in the playoff hunt, that's a pretty amazing coaching job, if you ask me.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe we'll move on to our next one. I want to get to it because I want Brian to start us off by talking about the Sedins. Dave, you brought to our attention that tonight they had their jerseys retired by the Canucks, and I've got a Sedin story. I don't know if Landon does, but I'd like to start off with Brian's story. So, Brian, would you mind sharing what you shared with us earlier about Mr. Burke and what he had to do to get the Sedins?
Yeah, I think Vancouver had the third pick overall, and they had targeted the Sedins. The Sedins had stated that they would not come over to North America unless they could play on the same team. Brian Burke said, hey, I'm going to draft one of them. So if the guys in front of him want to draft one, he's going to draft one, and they're not going to come. So in the meantime, he negotiated for the fourth pick overall from Chicago. He then used the fourth pick to, and I think year's first rounder, Vancouver's first rounder, to get the first pick. He then went to Atlanta and offered them the first pick. And this was their first year in the league, so Don Waddell was the GM there. And, he talked him into trading the first pick for the second pick, and therefore was able to draft Daniel at 2 and Henrik at 3, where Don Waddell picked Patrick Steffen, which he'd agreed to do as part of getting the first pick overall.
And he was, like, Patrick Steffen was a highly touted individual.
Absolutely, yeah.
It wasn't a pat. So, yeah, it was. There was a lot of, it almost reminds me of. Have you ever seen that movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
Yep.
Yep.
Kind of, that's the type of stuff that Brian Burke pulled off, right? It's not too often you get second and the third and the first round in an NHL draft. Landon, do you have a story about?
Well, I just always
Sedin
respected the Sedins because every time they seemed to play the Oilers, they were Oiler killers. So I had a mutual respect for their twin powers, I guess, that they could both be so dominant at the same time. And the fact that they retired with pretty similar points is just amazing. And the team they were most successful against was the Oilers. So,
Yeah, we didn't like them until they retired.
They killed us at times, but they also produced the magic on the ice.
Yeah. Dave, do you have any thoughts on our...
Yeah, the only thing is they just work so well together. It was quite magical how they worked off of each other. And I guess just going over some of the highlights of their last home game where Daniel Sedin scored the overtime winner from Henrik Sedin.
Yeah.
Against Edmonton, in Edmonton.
No, that was in Vancouver.
Nope. Yeah.
Their last game in Vancouver is where he scored the overtime goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their actual last NHL game was in Edmonton.
That's right.
Because Any other things, Dave?
Nope. They were just unbelievable. To score 1,000 points each, that's...
Yeah. Yeah. My big thing is not so much about their play of hockey, because it's well documented and the stats are there, is that I always thought that they were very classy individuals. And the thing I remember the most is when Ryan Smith retired. His last game, the Oilers had beaten the Canucks. The Canucks had to go back for another game. And, of course, Ryan Smith was very emotional and crying. And all of a sudden, he's skating around the ice. The fans are cheering. And then all of a sudden, the Canucks come back on the ice. And they shake Ryan Smith's hand. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm sure that was led by... they were led by their captain, one of the Sedins. It was Henrik the captain, or was it Daniel?
Henrik.
Yeah, it was led by the team. And then I just remember the twist of fate is when they retired. Of course, their last game is in the Edmonton Coliseum, or it would have been the Coliseum still, no? Or would it have been the new building?
The new building.
It would have been the new building. And I remember them having an interview, and I guess the Oilers had brought in their families, right?
Yeah.
The Oilers set them up in a suite, the families in a suite. And I just always thought it was that they were, the fact that they came back on the ice was just shows how much class they had and respect they had for Ryan Smith. And then for the Oilers, Oilers organization to have the opportunity to show class back is just kind of my favorite story about the Sedins, right? Just, I think they played the game the right way.
They definitely did.
But it took them a while to get going, right?
Yes, it did. Absolutely. In our league, guys would have dumped them.
Yeah. Just like Jake Virtanen and Kyle Yamamoto. Yeah.
Yep. One thing I wouldn't mind talking about, maybe you guys can fill me in on it, is Ryan Smith was just honored by the International Ice Hockey Federation for the number of games that he played, and as captain of on Team Canada and as captain of Team Canada. Did you guys hear anything about that?
Yes.
No. Oh, did you hear about Dave?
Yeah.
What were the details on that, Dave?
Did he get a hockey Hall of Fame, or did he get an IHA Hall of Fame or something, Dave?
I'm actually just looking it up right now on what happened here. Ryan Smith Hall of Fame, named to the IIHF Hall of Fame class of, this is from Oilers Nation, and he came out on February the 4th. The byline is Ryan Smith named to the IIHF Hall of Fame class of 2020.
Nice.
The announcement came Tuesday morning for Captain Canada, who played in dozens of international games for Canada. His nickname was fitting, given Smith's dedication to hockey for his country. And it tells about how many times he participated.
Like 180 or something.
Yeah, it tells about the years. And he participated in 7 straight. 5
World Championships?
Yeah.
Okay.
And 5 where he was wearing the captain. The C. He's the all-time leader in games played at the Worlds with 30.
Wow.
And ranks 10th in scoring with 31 points.
Yeah, a lot of miserable years for the Oilers, but great for Team Canada.
Yeah.
Anyway, just as a side story on Ryan Smith, he got decked playing in the for the Allen Cup team by a guy called Kyle Sheen. Ryan was playing for the Stony Plain Eagles, and he got blindsided, got a bunch of teeth knocked out, got a concussion by Kyle Sheen. Well, I had Kyle Sheen in the penalty box uh, in October playing a game for the Lacombe Generals. And he's a big, tough guy. But he said everybody's watching him now every game, and he can't get away with nothing anymore. And the reason he was in there, he was causing havoc in front of the Fort Saskatchewan net, and the ref blew it down and gave him a penalty. And I was watching him, and he didn't do anything.
Just on reputation alone, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's funny. That's a great story. Yeah, those are great stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was, Ryan Smith definitely was, did a lot of good for Team Canada, that's for sure. I remember the year they won the gold medal, and I bought the video. I can't remember what they called it, but they have an interview with him after one of the games, and he's just like, his face is just swollen, right? And he's saying, well, I got hit, it doesn't feel very good. And I was just thinking, yeah, no kidding, man. But, yeah, he was great for, it almost, like it didn't, like in the end, it seemed very silly that trade happened, or that move happened in the end. And I think the Oilers paid a price for it for a very long time. I don't know how anybody else feels about it.
Oh yeah, Ryan Smith was a marquee Oiler. Imagine if we had someone with Ryan Smith's work ethic playing with Connor McDavid nowadays.
Yeah.
That would be a deadly combination.
Yeah, very good.
And
then, go ahead, Landon.
Unfortunately, he had Mike Comrie instead of Connor McDavid. So,
yeah.
Although Mike Comrie did score 30 goals, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Any last thoughts on Mr. Smith there, Dave? Or
no, he was a great Oiler, and Crying Ryan, he'll always be remembered as Crying Ryan.
Fair enough. I just want to talk about one more thing, if people don't mind. I've fallen in love with the hockey news again. We had the rookie issue this time around.
Oh, it just came out, eh? Okay.
Yeah, and I got the Golds. They have a really neat subscription thing, but I've enjoyed reading it. And I saw this story, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Do you mind?
Nope.
Okay. So they have a section where they always do this. They always do like they have this meter thing, and then it depends, like busts and who's really hot. But then they always have this little section about hockey cards, right? And I don't know if you guys can see this player here. Has anybody heard of this player?
Looks like Bobby Orr, is it?
No, it's Taro. I can't pronounce his name because I'm terrible. Tichimoto. And it's a rookie card. He's skating with a it's not a Buffalo Sabres, but it's a Buffalo Sabres hockey card. It's really hard to see. Anyways, the story is that do you know the story, Dave?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so this is the story. I'm just going to read it verbatim from the hockey news. I hope they don't mind. But the Sabres GM, Punch Himlak. Landon? Have you ever heard of Punch Himlak?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Was so bored during the 74 NHL amateur draft that he decided to have some fun and selected a fictitious player named Taro, I don't know, just Tasjomato in the 11th round. Himlak claimed he was a center on a Japanese team called the Tokyo Katanas. League president Clarence Campbell fell for the ruse, and he was entered as the draft pick for the Buffalo Sabres. And then it comes to light basically that he just made up the name to draft. But in 2010 and 11, one of the score company actually created a trading card of him. But it's just a player. It's just a player who it's just a player on skates. They just made up his own rookie card for the fictitious player that was drafted in the 2000. I just thought, oh well, that's an interesting story, eh?
Yeah.
I never heard that before. Yeah.
I had never heard it before, and like they went all out, right? In Buffalo, where's Joe DiMaggio? They talk about Taro Tezumane. Like they did a quite elaborate job on the card itself. So I don't know. Just thought it was funny. Does anybody else want to touch on anything else? Brian, any last thoughts?
You know what? I really like the return that Minnesota got for Zucker.
Yeah.
And specifically on that, I like Kalen Addison.
Yeah.
And if you guys watched the World Juniors, he quarterbacked the power play for Canada at the World Juniors.
Yeah.
And they also got a first, and they also got Galchenyuk.
Yeah. What did you think of the trade, Landon?
Well, I was the person to tell Brian about the trade. So I really liked the return myself. I was surprised about the return. If that's the return for Zucker, I don't know what to expect this upcoming trade deadline, because that's a lot of value there first. And Kalen Addison is a blue chip defenseman, and Alex Galchenyuk isn't my favorite player, but he has skill when he wants to use it, I guess.
Well, it was Landon was the Galchenyuk going to Minnesota. That was a salary issue, right?
Yeah,
like they had to take him in order to accept Zucker, I would think, right? Or that's what I thought I read.
Yeah, that's purely for salary, because it has to be, because his skill hasn't been there consistently enough to include him in that type of trade. So
yeah, Dave, what did you think?
Yeah, a good trade for Minnesota for sure. I like that Zucker is playing in Pittsburgh, but Kalen Addison for Lethbridge, who you should know. Obviously, you know.
I'm very familiar with Mr. I've seen him for the last 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And he really impressed me at the juniors also. So Minnesota's getting a pretty good deal, especially in this draft year with the 2020 draft pick. You want to be in the game with as many picks as you want, because it's loaded.
Yeah, the first round, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where Pittsburgh's draft pick, but it won't be unless they win the cup. It's going to be a mid-round pick, I would think, in the first round, eh?
Yeah, at the best. You'll more likely be in the bottom.
But I agree with you, the depth vibe. Yeah, you don't have to sell me on Kalen. I've been watching him for 3 years, and I mean, I've got nothing but good to say about him. He's been a solid player for the Hurricanes throughout his tenure there. And to get a prospect like that, and to also get the first round pick, I agree with everyone here. Galchenyuk's just got it. We were talking about that in our last podcast. You know, it's just a salary thing, right? They've got to move salary. Everybody's going to have to move salary. There was another trade, though. We talked about Jack Campbell. What was the other one that I thought was really good? It was the Jack Campbell one again, right? I look at that trade more and more, and I think, you know, Kyle Dubas did an excellent job in that trade too. You know, we got Kyle Clifford.
Couple other things. I thought it was a good move by Toronto extending Pierre Engveld, and was curious that Columbus brought up Liam Foudy from London of the OHL.
Yeah. How did they get away with that?
I don't think they played him, but because they sent him back down. But they did bring him up. It was on the transactions list.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they got away with it.
Is it an emergency call-up, Dave, or?
It must have been. He did play a game. He's eligible for the draft. Yeah, he's eligible. Another Swiss skater. But, it shows that he's played a game with Columbus this year.
He's eligible for our draft.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And that draft just keeps on getting deeper.
I got 7 picks. If you guys want a pick or two.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about this year's draft yet, but I can't afford to have draft picks. So, do you want an 8th one, Brian? Because I got another one I'm trying to dump here. So, but the first round is going to get is pretty solid, I would think, for us. No, Dave, or?
Yeah, the first round seems pretty good. I'm just looking over Mersklin's here. He's eligible for the draft.
Yeah.
Who's
I think
that?
the big thing.
Elvis Mersklin's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows is that we have a rule in our fantasy hockey league that you can't be drafted until you've at least played one game in the NHL. And so it does make it for kind of interesting when you get these one game call-ups, right? Because then, it does make it a little interesting, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Like I picked Owen Tippett, and he hasn't played since. Right? So you kind of guess.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, he's still going to be a star, though, I think, and at some point. He's just filling out and getting better. I'm just going to look up his stats here in the American League, see how he's doing here.
And Brian, do you have Yossi Välimäki?
No, I do.
No.
You do, Dave?
Yes, I do, yeah.
To me, he's a really interesting. You've hung on to him, eh?
Yeah.
Did you want a 4th rounder for him for next year's draft?
No,
Okay. To me, he's a very interesting player. It's a shame that he's not going to be in for the rest of the season.
So, yeah, it'll be the whole year he's missed then.
Yeah, he's going to miss the whole year.
He's in Calgary, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He's a Calgary defenseman.
Yeah, Owen Tippett in the American Hockey League so far, 46 games, 19 goals, 21 assists, 40 points, plus 12.
I kind of like that. Nothing wrong with that.
It's only a matter of time for him.
Yeah.
He's
Dennis Cholowski was sent down. Cody Glass was sent down. Those kind of surprised me.
Yeah, Cholowski's been... No, he's good on the offense and the power play, but he struggles in his own zone. And he's a guy that I picked also in the 3rd round. I'm thinking that he might be in tough to stick with the big club permanently. He's still pretty young, but...
He is, yeah. But yeah, he hasn't shown enough to stay there for sure.
No.
I really like Cody Glass. He's one of the top prospects in my opinion. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Landon. Yeah. Dave, go ahead.
Sat down this week.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised at that. Because, Dave, you were talking, you watched him play at the beginning of the season, right? And you thought he looked really good, right?
Yeah, Cody Glass. Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good. Ryan Suzuki in Montreal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few picks out there, eh?
Kirby
But the
Dach in
goaltending,
Chicago.
what's surprising is that the first round I think the goaltending is where it's very surprising because now you've got the Washington goalie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you've got the kid from New York.
Shesterkin.
Shesterkin.
Okay.
Igor
And then-
Shesterkin.
Okay, right? And then you've
Ilya
got
Samsonov.
from Washington.
Yep.
And then you've got Elvis from Columbus, right?
Yep.
That's three pretty good goalies there.
They're all going to be studs.
It sure looks like it.
They're all going to be studs.
And they're all going to go in the first round.
Probably. I get 2 picks, so I'm going to take one of them.
The question is, who goes first overall? Landon, who's your pick to go first overall in next year's rookie draft for the RHL?
That has to be what's his name from Colorado?
Cale Makar.
Cale Makar.
Makar. Brian, who do you think's going number one?
I have my eyes set on Cale Makar right from the first game he played.
Cale Makar.
Yeah, two years ago we were looking at Dave. Who goes number one overall?
Well, we did the fail for Kale.
Fail for Kale. Fail for Kale. Very good. Yes. So Cale Makar, barring some freak injury, which means he'll never play again, he does appear to be the player. So the big question is, Landon, now that we've eliminated Cale Makar, who goes number 2?
Still Jack Hughes, I think.
You would go with Jack Hughes? Okay, well, that's good. Brian, any thoughts?
It's either going to be one of the 3 goalies
Yeah.
we talked about, or it's going to be Adam Fox.
Okay, there's a name that's kind of snuck up, eh? Because there's a guy we've been waiting on. Dave, who would you do at number 2?
Oh, I've got Ilya Samsonov.
You've got Ilya Samsonov, yeah. But Adam Fox, hey, now, Brian, I'm glad you brought him up because there's a kid that is basically forced the will of the NHL to get him to New York,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
He basically wanted to play for the Rangers and he wasn't going to sign until he got traded to them, right?
Hey, Calgary, Carolina, New York. He's where he wants to be.
Yeah.
He's happy.
And I've never seen him play.
He's a stud.
He is a
Yep.
Yeah, he is.
That's a good name you brought up there, Brian, because
I've watched him for the last 3 years playing juniors, and he's a dominant player.
He is a okay. Well, I mean, Calgary knew they were never going to sign him, so they just threw him in with the Hamilton deal. I thought Carolina was very wise to get him in. I thought maybe they could change their mind, but quite clearly he wanted to play for the Rangers, and he just tied every NHL team's hand until he got away with it. A little bit of our Eric Lindros syndrome, but not as dramatic. Okay, so we've got number 2. We'll just go one more. Who goes third overall, Landon? You have picked. First pick was Cale Makar, then you had Jack Hughes. Who would you pick third overall in the RHL draft next year?
it has to be the Washington goalie.
You would go Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid top 3 for you, Landon.
Yes, it is.
Brian?
Yeah, I mean, one of the 3 goalies.
One of the three.
I haven't decided who's the biggest stud among the three.
Right.
And actually, the biggest stud in goaltending may be the kid the Islanders have the rights to. And I forget his name now. Damn.
I'll look it up.
I'll bring it up right away.
Is he the guy who's in Russia?
Yep.
Because I think I know.
Ilya Sorokin.
Yes. Did he not play a game for the Islanders?
No, he's never come over.
He's not over. Okay, Dave, you're on
He
the
might
hot
be
seat.
better than any of those three that are available this year.
Yeah. Dave, who's number 3?
Oh, my number 3 pick is the goalie from the Rangers. The Shesterkin.
Shesterkin. Igor Shesterkin.
Well, I don't think you should be allowed to be drafted into the NHL unless you have a 1-syllable last name, so I can pronounce it. Well, guys, go ahead, Brian.
You don't have to write them down.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, guys, I'm going to end it there. I really appreciate the talk, and I hope to see you guys next Wednesday. So thanks.